to a convention in Hamburg, run by my friend Antje Freudenberg there. I broke my ankle, which a lot of you know, and before we went to Hamburg, we were going to stop in London to see Rachel in this play. Rachel told us, we knew that this was a long play. We didn't realize that it was the kind of length that was going to end up in the Guinness Book of Records. I broke my ankle, but I didn't realize I broke my ankle. I thought it was just a bad sprain. So I just grabbed some ice, jumped in the car, went to the airport, slapped the ice on the ankle and said, it's going to be okay. Went to London, went to Rachel's play. The play lasted, with intermissions, 29 hours. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but it took place, it was set in a soundstage, a film soundstage in London, roughly about this size. It was bigger, that's right, it was bigger. And it was what they called promenade theater. Does any of you know what promenade theater is? You walk around. There are no seats. So there are about 5 or 6 playing areas. So I'm walking around. And then leaning against, some area. So this would be a playing area, and I'm leaning here. Oh, Jesus. And then suddenly the actors would start coming towards me, and they're actually playing here, and they'd throw me aside. And I mean, this went on for 29 hours. At one point, Irene crawled under one of the stages and got about a half-hour's nap. Literally, she just crawled under a stage and fell asleep on the floor. I mean, it was extraordinary. People, because of 29 hours, people were coming in and out and in and out. It started 6 o'clock on a Saturday evening and finished at 11 o'clock the next Sunday night.
And Rachel played 11 roles, and she was wonderful.
Oh, she was great. She was, well, did I say she wasn't? No. And she also sang, yes. So, yeah, no, she's still interested in theater. And as I say, she's written this script that God willing, will be getting filmed. And, she's still acting. She hasn't done anything that one will be able to see on one's TV set. But that'll happen. It's a nutty business. But what the hell? Yeah.
Hi, Andy. I think you know who I am, but I'm Terry.
No, but it's for everybody to know who you are too.
Everybody knows who I am.
Okay. God, what an egotist you are, Terry. Anyway.
Very hard to get me. Anyway, Andy, I asked you just privately up in Anchorage, and I'll ask you publicly now. Would you ever like to work with Malcolm McDowell?
Would I ever like to work with Malcolm McDowell? I would indeed. And there's a reason why I'd like to, besides the fact he's a wonderful actor, is that Malcolm McDowell and I kind of came out at the same time with 2 of the weirdest characters ever. When he was doing Clockwork Orange and I did the character in Dirty Harry. And people were constantly referring to us as if we were, went to the same acting school or, we're related or something, That's right, we came from the same insane asylum, exactly. Yeah, I'd like to work with any good actor. That's any good actor. Come on, you guys got to participate because I'm telling you, this is not going to be a convention kind of thing. This is like family, and we should just be able to talk to each other, and I won't have you worshiping at Rene Auberjonois' feet because he insists on it. Rene Auberjonois is the guy. Oh my. Hi, Rene. Good. Thank you. Oh no! It's a breath of fresh air. It's. That's okay. That's okay. You see, never mind. he had something to say, but never mind.
Yeah. I was recently...
And what is your name?
My name's Larry.
Larry.
I was recently, I undertook a big project. I was transferring all my beta to VHS. So I watched a lot of stuff.
God, I still have to do that. I have, what, how many boxes of beta do we have? It's disgusting.
Anyway, so I watched your Liberace play again.
Dirty Liberace, you were going to say. Yeah, well, that's a film none of you have seen, but it's a combination of the Scorpio Killer and Liberace. I mean, just take a moment and picture that. Sorry, Larry.
And the other thing I watched was the Rock Hudson movie.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you got that part.
I got, how I got the part in this Rock Hudson thing is typical brilliant network television thinking. Oh, he played a gay guy in Liberace, so he can play a gay guy in the Rock Hudson story. That's all. That's the only reason, quite honestly. And the Rock Hudson thing was, when I saw it, I didn't realize that it was as kind of seamy as it was. Whereas I thought Liberace was a tasteful thing. I thought that Rock Hudson thing was, he was on the seamy side of the guy's story. I mean, it's a pity when your life and your career ends up being made into a bad TV movie. I feel sorry for Rock, I really do. And I feel even more sorry for myself because I was involved with it. Oh, God.
Hello, I'm Marcia.
Asia? Marcia. Okay, thank you. All right, it comes to my mind immediately. I mean, I've had a few of them. All right, I've got two of them. All right, two. In order of true embarrassment, ascending order. Okay, I'll begin with the lesser one. I did this film, which some of you may have seen. I never saw it, except one moment by mistake. It's a film that I did called, I don't know, a guy, David Heavener, directed it, starred in it, wrote it, produced it, did the music for it. Played all the roles except for the one role I unfortunately played. And it was with Yaphet Kotto and the late Robert Reed. No, Yaphet Kotto, the guy from Stax Records in East Memphis, Isaac Hayes. And he was a great guy, man. That was the best thing about working was talking about East Memphis music with him. Anyway, so I, channel surfing, and there's this scene, and it's this movie that I studiously avoided watching, and I'm in the scene, except I'm in the background, and I'm supposed to be playing this police commissioner who's, really smart and tough and well-groomed and on top of it, and my hair is all messed up. I look like I just got out of bed. I look sleepy, and everybody, there's an intense scene between two characters in the foreground, and I'm looking off someplace else. Like I don't know the camera's on. That was very embarrassing. The most embarrassing moment happened on stage. And I'm doing this, you know what I'm going to say. And I'm doing this play called The Bacchae by Euripides. And I'm playing Dionysus. And for those of you who don't know, Dionysus is the god of wine and the good things in life, Anyway, so he and his chorus of women go around raising hell all through the countryside, convincing sober-minded, good, solid citizens to let loose, cut loose, get down, So we're in the middle, and so I've got this, Greek costume on. It's kind of skimpy to begin with. It was when I was younger, and I could afford to wear skimpy costumes. And it had this little skirt, just a very little skirt, with kind of like a jock strap that was same color. Yes, that's what happened. But except it wasn't a jock strap. It was something that the costumer, she decided you want to be authentic, so you tie it up at the sides. So I'm doing my crazy Greek dances, and then suddenly I feel something go down the side of my leg, and I'm looking, and there is my diaper. On the floor. Irene's in the audience. It's at a small theater. And it was a great scene. The women were all worked up into a frenzy. I stopped like this because it's really skimpy. It's just barely enough to cover me. You know what I mean? And so I'm there because I'm thinking, well, I could continue this and it would really be authentic. But being the sort of staid New Englander that I am, I just kind of stopped. And the director was in the audience, and I said, forgot what his name is. He was a Polish. Huh?
That's really why.
Yeah, Jurek. So I said, so we stopped, and I said, Jurek? And the whole theater went dead, just like it did now. Silent. I was reading, Jurek? And he said, yes, Andy? I said, we have to stop. And I'll never forget, he said, okay, in his Polish accent. And so then, and I thought, how do I get off stage? Why does he go off stage? So I went on. And Irene later told me my entire body was red. I mean,
Chippendales try to cast you later?
no, Chippendales. No, not that kind of body, you know.
So you gave him the full mouth? Huh?
Yeah, sure. So anyway, nothing could beat that. Nothing could beat that at all. I mean, I've had other parts of, like sandals break in the middle of Mark Antony's funeral oration and Julius Caesar and stuff like that, but nothing like my diaper falling off. Yeah. Vicky. Oh, but you have to say your name. No, I'm not going to say your name. You're a Vicky, yeah.
Two-part question. First of all, I finally got a copy of Into the Badlands and wondered if you rode for pleasure before you made the movie, or if you had to learn to ride horseback before the movie. And then my second question is, did you have as much fun making Child's Play 3 with that character that looked like you did?
I loved that character in Child's Play 3, Sergeant Botnick. I loved him. I loved the big tattoo and that funny little Ronald Coleman mustache and it was and the weirdest thing about that movie Child's Play 3 was acting with Chucky. And I don't know if you know how they do this. It's unbelievable. They have 7 or 8 guys all around the set on computer consoles controlling an arm or a hand or a head. So basically, every part of the movie of Chucky's is like somebody, it's different, controlled by different people that they have to coordinate with. And there's one central person who's sort of like helping everybody coordinate. So you're actually doing a scene in space with this little guy. And it's the weirdest thing because he's sort of like reacting to you. And it's sort of like the horrific version of the Garrick action doll, but but and nobody takes those movies seriously. So but it's like some of the what I loved about it was comic acting. It was and I was on the floor when I saw it. I just thought that guy was one of the best. And no, I'm not a horse person. I'm not a horse person. Basically, I learned how to ride just enough so that when I get hired to play someone who has to ride a horse, I can do it. But Charlie Varick. But I learned to. That's when we learned to ride. But I'm not a horse person. No, I prefer scooters and roller skates. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Antje. I wanted to know what you currently do in theater. I mean, Dangerous Corner is probably over right now. And
yeah.
Any further plans for Matrix, or?
Yeah, at the Matrix Theater Company, and I love that column, the Matrix Musings. And by the way, that newsletter I think is really good. I really do. I wrote this in the last thing, but I read it. I read it from cover to cover, and I read all the dialogue that you all have online. I mean, it's pretty extraordinary. And that whole discussion about, there are a bunch of discussions that have come up that are really interesting to me. The whole discussion about Empok Nor and that story really interested me because it's because as I said, I had mixed feelings about that. But anyway, at the Matrix, we finished the Dangerous Corner, this J.V. Priestley play that I directed a couple weeks ago, and it was we were wonderfully successful. In other words, we didn't lose any money. You know, because basically we have a certain amount of money, and that we put it into a production, and you pray to God that you'll just break even or get close to breaking even, so you'll have about the same amount of money for the next production. And it literally is hand-to-mouth theater making. We're going to start rehearsals on a play December 2nd, I think, because that's the day after I finish directing this Voyager. And I think what we're going to do. I was talking to Joe Stern, who owns the Matrix. There's a play by John Robin Bates that many people don't know about called A Fair Country, and I think we'll be doing that, which I'm very excited about. But maybe not. There may be another play. I'm not sure, but that looks like the play that we're going to be doing, which will open then sometime in February. Yeah.
My name is Jo Marie Verba, and I would like to ask how you would like to see the character of Garrick developed through the end of the season. They're again now thinking about ending the show and wrapping things up, whether it goes to season 6 or season 7. And I wondered, is there anything that you would like to see them do with Garrick before the end of the show, or as an end of the show?
That's a good question. I mean, because they will, whether there's a season 7 or not, chances are not everybody will be back for season 7. I think that's very safe to say. Who, I really don't know. So there's going to have to be a certain amount of wrapping up. And I always have to face the fact that not being a regular, that the character of Garrick, there's always a chance could be killed off. And the same is said for any of the recurring characters, since we're not on a show contract. We're on an episode-by-episode contract. How I do know, the one thing I can say is that I know that they're planning some kind of showdown between Garrick and Gul Dukat. And they'd be foolish. They would really be foolish not to do that. In terms of what I would like to happen to Garrick and what is going to happen to Garrick, I try not to speculate, Joan Marie, only because if I get attached to a certain line that I'd love to see Garrick follow in terms of character development, it's not that I'm going to be disappointed. It's just that it's just pure fantasy on my part. I mean, the wonderful thing I can say about the show is that they really do. There's always at least one show each season in which they up the ante for Garrick. I mean, I'll be in several shows, and this year it looks like I'm going to be in a lot more because I've already done 4 at the beginning. Thank you. And the show, I guess that we're going to see tonight.
No.
Yeah. Right. The show, and the very first scene that was shot was a scene between Garrick and Bashir, in which they wanted us to reshoot because Sid and I got really, we just decided to go at it, and they thought it was just too intense, that we should be friendlier. So they made us reshoot the scene. I know.
Andy, can I just say, everyone doesn't know that Lee Whiteside is going to bring the satellite feed over to show in the suite this evening.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
they're all looking confused.
Well, did I let a surprise out of the? Oh,
Because I forgot to announce it.
yeah,
It won't air here till next Sunday.
yeah,
So
right.
it's a treat for
Great, yeah.
Behind the rest of the country.
Yeah. But there's always that one show. There's always that one show that just takes Garrick to a new place or reveals something more about Garrick, and they love that, and the writers do love writing for Garrick, which is thank God, because besides being able to play the material that they present, which is a lot of fun, also means that perhaps they won't kill him off too soon, which I hope not. I really do. You raised your hand, didn't you? Or was it just a twitch?
Do you know anything about the Mirror Universe episode that they have promised us for this season?
Yeah, they're shooting it right now. And I found out from Gail that they're shooting it right now, because Gail said to me, she said, "Now, are you in the Mirror Universe episode?" And I said, "No." She said, "That's the one they're shooting right now." And I said, "Oh." So obviously, but no. You see, I hated doing those Mirror Universe shows because I didn't like the Garrick that I had to play in those. He was sort of like, it's like too many other things that I've done before. Yes. No, you.
I've always been interested in the whole exile nature of Garrick, and because I'm so interested in that in the real world. There's so many writers who are in exile.
Yeah.
Salman Rushdie and so forth. And I've always wondered if you have ever thought, would Garrick ever be comfortable going back to Cardassia if they allowed him that?
I wonder about that too, because if they don't kill him, and why I say that is because after that Empok Nor thing, when he killed a Federation person, I decided, well, that's it. He just signed his death warrant. Sooner or later, they have to kill Garrick because he just did the unpardonable. He just killed one of the good guys, even though the good guy was a racist. But that doesn't make any difference, as long as you're wearing the right uniform, Anyway, well, don't go there. Don't go there. Anyway, so I see that's his desire. I guess, to come back to Joan Marie's question, basically, I would love to see, it would be a very positive thing for me if Garrick went back to Cardassia and became a respectable, honest. I mean, honest is, no, forget it. Actually, he could be a politician. No, he can't go home again. No, you're right. But Garrick would be a good politician, now that I think of it. He'd be perfect for an American politician. Hi there. Yes. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other plans?
What is your name? Alice.
Do you have any other plans to direct?
Yes. Besides, yeah, I'm going to. Well, the three directing projects I have is a episode of Voyager that's coming up next month, and obviously this play that I just mentioned at the Matrix Theater, and the screenplay that my daughter Rachel and her writing partner Dave Kilgore wrote, which is about her experiences, not so happy experiences in a sorority at college. So it's a very dark look at the whole what they call Greek system, sororities and fraternities. Animal House, it ain't. There was somebody else back here. Yes.
Were you surprised
Why do I have to?
I'm Sue.
Hi, Sue.
Were you surprised that Auburn Payne was Garrick's father?
Nope.
Did it change the way, any that you now present the character having maybe a bit more of a backstory? This is how he grew up.
Yeah, I mean, but it corroborated everything I felt about the character Sue, because it's no surprise that Garrick is who he is when he has a father who's, I have a friend who's a director whose father was an FBI agent, and Bob can't help it. Bob is incredibly secretive. Bob has these sort of furtive little habits, He's a very open guy otherwise, but he has these habits. I mean, so I'm not surprised that Garrick is. And also, Mila was his mother, is Garrick's mother. I'm wondering if they're ever going to let that shoe drop. But it was very clear to me that in that episode that two-parter that I love dearly, Next to the Wire, that's my favorite. What Improbable Cause? Dies Cast, that's right. And that Rene and I did together. That it was always clear to me that was the parentage, and that was the it's in the genes, no question. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dagmar Swimmer, and I have a question about theater auditions. Do you have any kind of interesting or strange stories to tell about when you went about auditions, for example, for a theater play, and you decided immediately after they asked you to read for this or that you said, this is no good, or this is just strange and I shouldn't do this?
Well, Like any other actor, and believe me, it's, all of you go through the same thing too, to a certain extent, because although some of you have long-term jobs, and you don't have to worry about going in front of somebody, and selling yourself and trying to get a job. Others of you have done it several times. Some of you are out of work now, and you're going and you're looking for work. For an actor, it's constant. It's constant. And sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a long gig. I guess the longest gig I had was about 1.5 years on a soap opera, Ryan's Hope. And the thing I remember the most about it was like, man, I'm getting paid every week, and I don't have to go looking for a job. Because I hate it. I hate auditions. And I got it, and I'm still trying to work, because when I say I hate it, that just makes it harder. And I think, oh, don't say that. Don't be silly. It's just going to make it harder. But the truth is, I hate it. and then where it's making it's very interesting, Dagmar, where it's now really catching up with me, is that being on the other side of it now, since I became a director and having to audition people. I remember Joe Stern, as I say, who owns the Matrix Theater. I remember begging him, saying, one of the plays that we're doing, can't we just cast it within the company? Let's not have any auditions. Because I sit there and actors come in and I'm dying. Ask Rene about this too, because Rene and I talked about this. I mean, he went through the same thing. And especially when friends of yours come in. And friends of yours that can play the role. Because the truth is, as long as it's a good actor, almost any given role, dozens of actors can play that. Yeah, give the role to him, he can do it. Well, if you're sitting there with, say, the Jerry Taylor or Ira Bear or whomever is the producers, some TV show that you're sitting with, for instance, the Star Trek casting process is interminable. It is agonizing. First of all, you go into this room that is, there's something wrong with this room. There's something structurally that's not right about it. I mean, the Chinese, the Egyptians would never have built this room because proportionately it's off. There are bad things that are going on there. So you walk in there and you suddenly feel, and then everybody is all the producers and the directors and the writers and the janitor and they're all sitting at the table at the end. Nobody introduces himself. Ron Sermon, the casting director, says, and hi, and this is Andy Robinson. Okay, so I guess I'm supposed to start, So yeah, and then behind you there's the stench of fear and sweat out there from 10 or 15 or 20 actors, and it's funny, but then some of them are losing their houses. Some of them had to sell their cars. I mean, it's like Vegas. It's such a bizarre thing to do. That's why the fact that I'm here saying this to you, I'm so grateful, which means I've got a job that's, there's some place where I'm working where, you are watching me, So everything has happened in these auditions. Everything has happened because they're very existential experiences. You see your life going across your eyeballs, And yes, Dagmar, there have been times in the middle of an audition, I've been doing it, I'm thinking, I wouldn't be caught dead in this turkey. They couldn't pay me enough money. And I remember one time, and this is when I was younger and a little crazier, I'm doing this, and it was after Dirty Harry, when I was getting offered all kinds of nuts, all kinds of crazy people, and I just couldn't get away from it. And I turned them down until we went broke. And Irene said, listen, you either go to some of these auditions or you get another career because we're broke. And I'm pregnant and okay. I mean, the universal motivator. I'm pregnant and we're broke. Do something about it, pal. So I remember going to this one audition. And it's funny because a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, got the role. and it was like this sort of Charlie Manson type leader of a band of crazies. And I'm in the middle of it, and of course they give you the scene in a little office, and this was a little office, and everybody was crowded into this little office, and you're supposed to be emoting, in this little office, so people are this close to me. So I'm trying to contain it, because I know, but I'm so filled with this anger, because I have to go to this audition. I'm so angry that it just runs away with me. And I got louder and more intense, and I could see literally the people were like this. And literally, I remember the casting woman, she was back against the wall, and she couldn't go any further. I saw this, there were 4 or 5, in moments like that, 4 or 5 things going on in my mind at the same time. I'm thinking, oh, God, this is terrible. Well, I'm angry, there's a stupid piece of shit. And then there was a window over here. So finally, just to release the tension, I went over to the window, I opened up the window, and I let this primal scream. I finished, I felt great. Took a deep breath, closed the window, said, sorry about that, and left. And they literally never forget that as long as I live. But everything happens. There are times in the middle of auditions, because it's the kind of thing that does it. It's the kind of thing that challenges you. It challenges you at the very place where you live. There are times in auditions where I've totally lost my confidence. I'm in the middle of something and I can't, that where you suddenly stop functioning.
You can't focus.
Can't focus, you can't think, and you say, wait, I'm sorry, let me start again. And you start again and it's worse. I said, no, let me start again. You start again, yet again, and it's still worse. So finally, one time I got up and I said, I am very sorry. I don't have it today. And you go out feeling like run over dog poop. That's the way it is. There are other times, because it's a measure. It's like cutting into your life at any given moment. There are times when I've cut into it where I've come out of there feeling like a god, where I feel like I jumped into it, I made the character sing, I got to truths, that I thought wasn't possible, and so it's like everything happens in auditions. It's the true test. It's quite frankly, Irene's son Dan, wonderful man who's doing really important work. He's a helicopter paramedic, but started out as an actor. Gorgeous young man. He still is. But as younger, he was just an Adonis. One of the, Irene's eyes and so forth. And he wanted to be an actor, and he didn't have the stomach. Mind you, this is a guy who lands in the middle of and with bodies all over the place and people dying and in serious. He can do that. But he did not have the stomach to go into these offices and deal, take care of that. But he's doing what he should be doing. That's but it's a challenge. Yes.
I'm Cheryl. I did the fiber optic decoration.
Hi, Cheryl.
And actually, it's a good thing she asked that question because mine is sort of a follow-up to that. It's sort of, what do you find within yourself, or how do you seek for that strength to continue as an artist when it's difficult? Because I know that you, from some of these stories you've just told, if the life of an actor can be a challenge. There's a lot of times when you're, quote, not making it, and you've got to still hang on to the faith, this is what I was meant to do, this is what I want to continue doing. I know with me, it's that way. There's a lot of doubt. You can sometimes lose faith. How do you continue to...
I just think you answered the question. It's about faith. It is about faith. The older I get, the more I realize that in terms of my life, it's all about faith. And I'm not talking about any kind of religious faith. I'm talking about just faith, the belief in myself as a human being that has the right to be here and the right to have my desires and to do what I want to do. And and I think what I was talking about with that audition thing, question when Dagmar brought up is that your faith is, every audition, your faith is challenged. And of course, and we can all relate to this, like, do you have the right to be here? Somehow, the question comes, do you have the right to be here? Do you have the right to live? Do you have the right to be doing what you're doing? And if you don't believe that, and which for, many, I've spent a lot of my life, more than I care to admit, not believing that I had the right. Yeah, it's you talk yourself into it, whatever, but you got to do something, because that's living hell. There can be no worse hell than that. And that's why I'm grateful for being an actor, because I've come to, like now, where I believe I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be doing what I'm doing. I deserve to be in this room with you all. And I'm grateful for whatever higher power brought me here. But it's a question of just believing in yourself. I mean, I don't mean to sound like Anthony Robbins or turning this into some kind of motivational meaning. All right, to be enthusiastic, you must act enthusiastic. Oh boy, am I enthusiastic! But it comes down to that. Honestly, I listen. I'll share something with you. I have this rubber band on my finger. I started wearing this a few days ago. This is to remember. This is to remember about the things that I forget. The things I forget about kindness, about generosity, about giving. Because I come from where I come from. And there's a lot of tightness and there's a lot of ungivingness where I come from. And I find the older I get, I have to be more careful, because, sometimes I can turn around, I can be such a cranky old queen, as a friend of mine says, and just be unkind. And I don't want to do that anymore. I really don't want to be ungenerous anymore, with people, and especially with the people that I live with and I love a lot. And that's also, I think, part of the trip, part of the faith of anyway, enough of that. Oh boy, let's go someplace else. Yeah, oh yeah, please, yes, there's enough of this. No, you can have it.
I haven't seen this guy at all.
No, I know it.
You sit.
Because in the episodes, the first 6 episodes of the season, the story arc was he's on the station being a turncoat, and I'm on the Defiant being a hero. So isn't that amazing? It's yeah.
This is so great. Hello.
I'd like to introduce you to my friend Avery Brooks.
This is so great to be here. You don't even need a microphone. Well, you've got a microphone. Can you hear? Can you hear all right back there?
The video cam.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What? It's just great to be here without, just to see not a sea of people and to be able to really talk to you. That's really nice. That's nice.
We're getting another chair.
So anyway, we haven't, as he said, we haven't seen each other at all. We've not had a second.
Not a second.
On film together.
Nope.
And I've actually, the first, as I'm sure he's told you, the first 5 episodes of the season are the finishing of the arc that started at the end of last season.
6 episodes, believe it or not.
6? I thought it was 6 including. Well, yeah, whatever. Anyway, and I was just busy linking with the female shapeshifter. So yeah, gone over to the dark side, and these guys were doing all the heavy work. So I would come in one day and link and leave. As you'll see.
Link and leave.
They call me just link and leave.
Link 'em and love 'em.
Link 'em and leave 'em. And that's what I've been doing, and I still haven't done anything this season yet. I feel like the season hasn't begun for me. I just.
Well, you've been on the road forever.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I know.
I'll agree, but I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah. Well, you mean in hiatus in Australia?
Well, you've been buying property. The guy's been buying property everywhere. I mean, he's become a real estate mogul.
One place. We bought property up in Northern California where we're going to build a house. And I haven't been up there since we got it in July. So, anyway, what were we talking about?
Oh, no, we passed that. I was getting very philosophical, and you came in just at the right time. I know.
Bellowing.
Don't tell anybody. No. Auditions we have known. That
Are
was...
you in this week's episode?
No.
I barely am. Did he tell you about it? Well, we should let Sid tell you because...
What's the title?
It's called... I don't know.
That's a good
I don't know what it's called. Does anybody know?
This week's episode is a repeat of last season's cliffhanger.
No, the one that they're shooting me.
Well, the one we're shooting right now,
The one in the alternate
it's a crossover episode, and it's the return of Vedek Barai. Well, it's not really Vedek. It's not the Vedek. It's the return of Philip Anglam. As I walked in, I walked into the makeup trailer, and he was sitting there, and I said, "The fans prevail."
That's great.
It's great, though. He's back
That's
as
great.
sort of a scoundrel.
Oh.
It's a very nice flip because it is a crossover episode. It's a flip
See,
side thing.
we
and so
each have a chair now.
Yeah, and he's back as a scoundrel, as a sort of an Aladdin type character.
Well, of
We'll let
course it's
Sid
taller.
talk about that because I'm sure Nana. I saw Nana yesterday. I took some friends on the set for a tour, and I said, "How's it going?" And she said, 16-hour days every day, because it's just the two of them. So I'm already finished on it. And who's directing the next episode?
I don't know. I know LeVar's directing this one.
This one, the guy from Happy Days. I can't remember his name.
Ronnie Howard? Anson Williams.
Ron Howard.
Well, I mean, we deserve it. I mean, Stanley Kubrick was supposed to direct, the season opener, but then he got involved with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
What was his name?
Anson Williams.
Anson Williams.
Oh, that's right. He actually directed a Voyager.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Two of them? What?
Don't you direct the one after that then?
I go into prep October 10th, which it's the 11th show, and we're now in the 8th show.
Is that where it is?
And are you in prep now?
No, not till next month.
And you know when on our show? Have they told you yet?
No.
I was a sort of a last-minute replacement for a director who I guess had another conflict, so they sort of threw me in. Anyway, enough about me. Until later when we get ready.
Well, you want to know something? I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Oh, no.
No.
You can't leave yet.
No, but they came to.
But we'll talk for a while.
All right. Just give me the hook when it's time. Just tell me to get the hell out of here. All right, thank you. Yes, and he will too. He will.
On the road together. I
He
can
will.
tell already.
Yeah. Oh dear.
You want to do a question?
I had a question for both of you. I read briefly in Plain and Simple about when you guys were filming Rocket Shoals. What was I know about Annie's most discomfort in doing the makeup, but can you describe the most discomfort you've been in?
Well, actually, it was just when we were driving in, Gail's husband was telling me that he had spoken to you about Rocket Shoals. I imagine is the one where you went on location.
It
which
was
I read
horrible. 115 degrees in Sun Valley.
in that makeup, and his costume is a is a wetsuit, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, Gail came, and I was, and I just thought, oh, don't be cranky, because I do get terribly cranky. I mean, oh.
yeah. While you were around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never had on this show. The locations that I've gone on in which I've not been directing, but I've been in makeup. I've never had really very bad disco. We did that, the one with Arm with Quark, up at the Whitney Portals.
Ascent.
What was it called?
Ascent.
Ascent, thank you.
That's right.
And that was not uncomfortable for me. It was for Armin because we were at such high altitude, and he had the hat, the baby's butt hat on him. And the pressure built up in it. We were up at like 11,000 feet, and so he was really uncomfortable. For me, the worst location I've ever been on was Nicaragua for 3 months. I was in Nicaragua for 3 months. I wasn't in a heavy makeup, but I was in a heavy uniform, and we didn't have trailers, and we barely had water, so that was...
That was Walker.
And it was also, Walker. It was 3 months. That was a few days is hard enough, but when you 3 months every day getting up, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tough life.
I'm Stephanie, and I'm from Florida, and I wanted to say thank you for your wonderful work in By Inferno's Light. I suffer from claustrophobia. And your portrayal was brilliant.
Well, it wasn't so much a portrayal as I'm partially claustrophobic, and I've told the story before. But when I first got into the Garrick thing, I actually was going to call my agent to see if I could get out of this because I was suffering, and also I had the flu when I was doing that scene. Oh, it was a very difficult day. Yeah.
This is an episode.
Last year.
You can tell I don't know the titles of the shows.
Yeah.
They're all one big story.
Last year, when Garrick and gang are taken to a Jem'Hadar prison camp, and they have to escape.
Right. What part of you is claustrophobic? You said you're partially claustrophobic.
Partially, I get this, and then he's such a stickler. He really is.
Come on, questions.
There's one back there. Yes, ma'am.
I was delighted to see Armin in SG1 a couple weeks ago, and I was wondering if either of you had plans to go into any of the other sci-fi.
Which one was he on?
Stargate 1.
But he's also on Buffy, right? But I've never heard of Stargate 1. Have you?
It's a cable show?
Yeah, it's on Showtime.
Well, Armin is a slut. Next thing you know, he'll be on Babylon 5.
That's right.
Actually, I'd love to. I would. I was at a party at Mira Furlan's a few weekends ago, and what's his name? Straczynski? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Don't tell him I said that, but anyway, we talked for a long time, and he said I've been at conventions with him. I was at one in Blackpool, and I was at another one somewhere else. I can't remember here. And he's always been sort of a little standoffish to me because I think he probably thinks I'm sort of tied at the hip to Rick Berman or something.
That's right. And there's no love lost there.
There is no love lost there. So he's always been a little... But then we stood and talked, and because I'm a friend of Mira's and everything, he sort of started to relax with me. And then at the end of it, he said, well, come on over to the set. Why don't you come and visit? And so maybe I'll weasel my way into
Okay, my name is Candy. I do music vids. I've got a personal question for each of you. Rene, I noticed that you seem to be very limber, and I was wondering if
Perhaps I do yoga?
Yes, but you're sitting there very...
Oh, with my leg, yeah. This is because of the shape-shifting. Yoga is, I would love to be able to say to you, I'm a lapsed yogi. I studied yoga for many years and was very, very involved in it. But this is probably more than you wanted to know, but I because we spend so much of our time indoors on sound stages, I really have gravitated towards exercise that takes me outside, and so I do strenuous hiking and biking, and I do some yoga stretches in hot water, in the baths. I go to the Korean baths. This is much more than you wanted to know. I go to the Korean baths and I do yoga postures in the hot water, but I am not limber really. I can do this, but I won't be able to get it out of me.
And now my question for Andy. I've been trying to figure out which is your dominant hand. I wonder if you're ambidextrous as I am, that you have your watch on your right. Or are you right-handed?
I don't know.
He doesn't know his right from his left.
That's right. I don't know. I always thought it was on my left. It's on. No. I don't know why I do this. I have no. Sometimes I will put it on my left.
Really?
Yeah. It all alternates.
Yeah, I'm ambidextrous. In school, I was forced to use my right hand.
No, but I'm very much right-handed. I mean, I write right-handed. I throw right-handed. I pick my nose with my right hand. But I.
Talk about more than you want.
Oh, listen. Telling them more than they want to know is like that's the secret of my. Anyway. Yes.
My name's Karen Weber. When you guys auditioned for Deep Space Nine, did you ever expect this convention, fan clubs, people sitting here?
Not in a light year. No, I mean not at all. As I said, it was different for Rene because he was auditioning. No, I mean different in the sense that he was auditioning for a regular character. I was just auditioning for one episode. So I especially didn't expect anything other than for the check to clear, and even then,
that was an assumption.
That's right. Yeah.
I certainly didn't expect it. I had when I did that little tiny part in Undiscovered Country, which was I guess a year before that.
Colonel West.
Thank you, Colonel West, yes. This man is telling me the titles and also the names of characters.
He's a filmographer. I mean, I'm telling you, he did this before you came.
I'm really glad he is.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of that character the first convention I went to.
Ultimate tracker.
Oh, yeah? Really? That's great. That's
We call him up and I don't have a line. Answers to
That's why you're with our group, Larry.
Yeah. Is there going to be a test on any of this? But I didn't know. When I went in for the fitting for the Starfleet officer's uniform, after the fitting, as I was leaving, the woman who had done the measurements and everything, she said, "Boy, you're in for it now." Okay? I had no idea what she meant, but that's what she meant. She meant, you're in it. You are now in the in that
Doghouse.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Steve. You've both been in the business for a long time, and I was wondering how you perceive Hollywood has changed over the last 25 years.
I don't even know how to.
It's been very, very good to me. I don't know how it's changed. The streets are much dirtier, and there are more of those stars on the sidewalks. That's not a glib answer. As you were saying that we'd been in the business a long time, what flashed through my mind was the first time we ever worked together was in Incident at Vichy.
1974.
In 1974, Stacy Keach directed it. Harris Yulin was in it, who was in that wonderful duet episode. Yeah. I'm trying to now think of. There were probably other people in it who have been guests
sure.
on our show, but we worked together in that, and it was a wonderful experience. But I didn't live in Hollywood at the time. I came, 1974. I had 2 children by then. The 2 children that I have now too. They were little tiny people, and we stayed in a kind of a motel hotel on Hollywood Boulevard, west of Fairfax. So it was a sort of a quiet section. But I don't know why I'm getting into all that. But Hollywood was certainly. I don't know whether Hollywood has changed or whether it's just that we've had now careers that if you added them up, the years would reach the moon or something. I don't know, but it's certainly. listen, the industry has changed, and not to get into a real serious discussion of that, but there is the big corporate weight of it is really trying to squeeze the middle class actor down into they're accepting the fact that there will be mega stars who make millions, and I'm waiting, soon it'll be billions of dollars a year to do a film, and the weight of that is...
And then everybody else who makes a minimum scale, what they call scale minimum. And it's a big issue now, because I don't think there was ever a lot of justice, in our business. I don't think that's the point. But at least there was a certain amount of, if you'd been in the business long enough and you'd built your price up to a certain point, the price was honored. So if you are a middle class or a middle-aged actor, you would make more money than, say, someone who just got out of Juilliard. Whereas if you're just getting out of Juilliard now, chances are you're going to make a lot more money than I am, simply because you're young and you're good-looking and whatever. So the capitalism has really, taken over the business, I think.
Yeah, that's enough. We don't want to get into a long, serious discussion about that, but it's an important thing, and it's ultimately going to affect the quality of work. If you do that, it's not that you expect. We all make very good livings relative to what people make in the real world. We have no complaints. I mean, it's never enough. That was the first lesson I had when I started working in the theater my first season right out of college. I worked for $85 a week. They asked me to come back the next season. I went into the business manager and with great trepidation, I said, I can't make it on $85 a week. Could I make $100 a week? And she said, oh, sure. Oh, and she said, but she was about the age I am now, and she said, remember this when you're my age. It'll never be enough. And she's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It never is enough, but anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Is there scheduled for any love relationships in the next season?
Love relationships.
Yeah,
Did you ask that about Odo specifically, or just about everybody in? Oh. Well, I never know. You guys know this stuff long before I do. It's always on the computer or something, and as I was just telling Lisa, I used to say I don't know how to turn a computer on, but I've learned this week how to turn a computer on. And yeah, it's major. I will tell you, I was sitting on the phone, I was talking to a friend, Howard Hessman, and we were talking, we were going to go to a movie, and I said, well, Judith can't come because she's got a computer class, and we started talking, and I said, I can't turn a computer on, and he said, go over to the computer. I said, no, Howard. He said, walk over to the computer. I walked over to the computer, and 2 hours later, I'm sitting there talking to him, and then went up to his house, and what was I talking about?
Love relationship.
Oh, love relationship.
But that's a perfect Odo answer, isn't it? Odo is falling in love with his computer. And on that note,
I'll see you later.
All right, see you. I'll see you later.